The Hawk thought he was done with TNA, but every time I think I am, they do something to pull me back, and then I need a smack. I admit I did get caught up in the hype with the Bound for Glory pay-per-view. It looked really good from everything I'd seen. And wow, look at this arena. The fact that TNA can get a few thousand fans through the doors now is impressive to me. In fact, this is the highest attended Bound for Glory in 11 years. So I thought I'd check out Bound for Glory for this weekend, which took place in Detroit, Michigan. Quick side note before we start today's video. Later tonight, my long-awaited Could You Date a Pro Wrestler video is coming out. I truly believe it's something that can help the UK scene. I wanted to give these guys a platform instead of wrestling on YouTube for 5 views. If I'd conducted this in a normal interview setting, nobody would have watched. So this is what my crazy Hawk brain came up with. So I'm going to need your help more than ever, Shove It Squad, to share this video around. Never been so nervous in my entire life, actually. They seem to be running with the line, "Take Back Pro Wrestling." I didn't really get it, but visually the opening package looked great. We start off with an X Division match with the title on the line. The challenger is Vikingo, who I've really enjoyed in the past. The champion is Mike Bailey. It's a fast and frantic start, as you would expect. Vikingo seems to get the early advantage of a crazy head scissors and a dive out of the ring. Vikingo does seem to hurt his knee, which is an injury he's just returned from. Fortunately, it doesn't seem to be real, or at least I don't think it was, but they seem like this might be leading to a story for this matchup. A novel concept. Speedball hits a front slam and connects with a falling knee drop for a 2. Out of nowhere, Vikingo bounces off the ropes with his head and kicks Bailey down. He dodges Speedball in the corner, which gets an audible gasp from the crowd. He continues moving quickly and hits a springboard dropkick. On the outside, Vikingo goes for a walk along the barrier and dives into a hurricanrana. Speedball recovers and dodges his next dive and does a corkscrew to the outside. The Karate Kid can't hit his shooting star, but he does counter a crossbody nicely. Bailey hits a nice dragon screw, followed by a falcon arrow. That allows him to hit his shooting star, but that's just a 2. We now get a double down after Vikingo hits a kick. They then do a stupid chop exchange, which I just think is played out at this point. Vikingo turns to kicks instead, and one seems to really hurt Bailey's knee. He's just playing possum though, and he boots Vikingo in the face. He's a Hawk on fire now, with a moonsault into double knees and another big kick. Bailey hits the ultimate weapon for the... Wait, no, it's not the 3, that's surprising. Bailey tries to go for a driver now, which is countered into a Canadian destroyer from Vikingo. He wants to hit the 630, but Bailey climbs out of the ring. Vikingo changes the plan up and walks along the ropes and hits a corkscrew moonsault out of the ring. Bailey recovers and he stops his next dive. He misses double knees on the apron. Vikingo stands on the ring pole and jumps into a Canadian destroyer on the apron. The crowd loved that one. They move on to fight on the top rope, where Bailey hits a crazy suplex which ends the match. A very nice opener, which maybe was missing one more major move to put this into the incredible territory. But don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed the opener between two guys that are really good at what they do. By the way, points off, because they forgot to work on Vikingo's leg after doing that at the start of the match. Up next, it's the women's tag title match. WWE wrestler Wendy Choo teams up with Rosemary, and the champions are Spitfire, Dani Luna and Jody Threat. Dani Luna has some of the strongest legs I've ever seen on a woman. She's like a female rhino. Lots of wacky haircuts going on in this match. There's a slightly awkward moment where Wendy Choo tries to cushion Rosemary with a pillow, but it just looks dumb and the crowd don't react. Jody Threat comically hits a German to the pillow. She pays for that with a dropkick. Rosemary's team dominate for a while. The crowd are pretty silent for this one, except for the odd chant of pillow. Threat hits a clothesline and finally tags out. Luna starts booting their heads off. She hits a nice missile dropkick to Rosemary. She almost beats her with a powerbomb. The match breaks down and the evil girls get the advantage again with a DDT on the floor. Jody Threat quickly changes that with a flip dive that Jeff Hardy won't even acknowledge, and nor will Shannon. There's a funny moment where Spitfire try to rally each other, but they just sound like two greased up crackheads.
We gotta win this one, Jody. It's a big moment. Bound for glory. It's our time, man.
The match continues with Luna trying to make a tag, and Wendy arrives late to drag Threat off the apron. Luna then turns around into a spear from Rosemary. She breaks up her own pin like a moron so they can try and set her on the top rope. It's a bad decision because Dani Luna powerbombs them both. Jody Threat gets the tag. Some miscommunication from the heels leaves them in trouble and Threat stacks them both on the ropes. Looks like the Hawk with your girl. Threat squashes them both and German suplexes them both. Jody Threat throws Choo into Dani Luna's powerbomb and that's over. This was okay. Rosemary spears Wendy Choo after the match too, which is good, but not a great showing for Wendy Choo in this match. She didn't do a whole lot of anything. I'm not sure if she was a useful addition or not. In the back, Kazarian is reading Earl Hebner's new book. He will be the special referee for the main event match tonight. Man, the pop that Joe Hendry gets compared to Dolph Ziggler's is insane. WWE must be licking their lips desperate to sign Hendry. The next match will see Steve Macklin take on Perk Alexander. Alexander looks like the type of guy who goes cycling on country lanes for hours each weekend and he holds up the traffic. You don't care about it either. They have a crazy fight on the outside before the ref even has a chance to ring the bell. Macklin is in a real rage. After 5 minutes, the bell finally rings for Alexander having the advantage from the pre-match brawl. Macklin gets a 2 off a backbreaker, but he misses his follow-up splash and Alexander crushes him with his version of the backbreaker. The crowd chant "Walking Wiener," which is sadly the highlight of the match so far. Alexander, the Walking Wiener, hits a few German suplexes before Macklin gives him a taste of his own medicine. This goes on for a while and both men are exhausted. We move on to Josh hitting a front slam on the apron and a crossbody to his back. Josh is getting too distracted by the fans though. Macklin does take advantage of that with a sort of ankle slam. He keeps going with suplexes and a superplex into a Death Valley driver. Then there's a ref bump. Alexander boots Macklin in the slash show. He fetches some zip ties and has Macklin's arms tied up behind his back. The ref wakes up and sees it, but apparently he has no idea what's happened here and he's trying to work it out. What an idiot. Macklin starts running around and headbutting Alexander. He refuses the referee's help to untie him and he throws himself out of the ring. Okay, this is actually pretty cool and it's something I've not seen before. Steve Macklin smashes him with some knees, but he can't get frees. He's still refusing to be freed. Bad choice because Alexander picks him up and hits the Tombstone Piledriver. How does a man with no arms kick out the pin? Steve Macklin reverses the C4 spike. He no-sells a German suplex and hits a headbutt. Josh Alexander isn't affected though and he locks Macklin in the ankle lock. With no way to make it to the ropes, Macklin passes out. I wasn't really enjoying this match, but I ended up enjoying it thanks to a unique story. Next up will be Matt Cardona and PCO. They've been feuding over Steph DeLander. PCO is the only one who has a hardcore gimmick. This is kind of Matt Cardona's thing nowadays. This one's going to be for the digital media title and the international titles, both belonging to PCO. Cardona instantly starts dumping in his nappy of fear. He stops dumping when PCO takes a nasty bump out of the ring. Cardona brings the fight to the outside. Matt gets distracted by making threats into the camera and he runs into a big PCO boot. Ouellette beats him up with a trash can. It doesn't last long as he's dropped onto the ring steps. Talking of getting dropped, Cardona had dropped into a door. PCO wants to dive out of the ring now when Cardona drills him with a trash can. Another door comes into play. He creates a bridge with chairs upright underneath it as well. PCO gets powerbombed right through that construction. Somehow it's just a 2. Now it's time for the thumbtacks. He tips him down PCO's throat and kicks him in the face. Cardona also squashes thumbtacks into his face, which fires PCO up. He can't do anything though, and Cardona hits the Rough Rider. A third door comes into play. This one is shoulder blocked by PCO. I think it was meant to break, so PCO just breaks it across his prone body. The match continues with Cardona using a barbed wire baseball bat, but PCO isn't human and he just shrugs it off and chokeslams Cardona into the tacks. PCO finishes him off with the moonsault. I have seen him in better matches, but it was still a lot of fun. I have to say I'm really enjoying the pacing of this show so far. We've had a little bit of everything, so nothing is feeling repetitive, and that trend's going to continue with the next matchup. It's a heavyweight singles match between Mike Santana and Moose. Moose brings his little friend Fandango with him. Mike Santana doesn't bring anyone with him, but he comes through the crowd. The first big bump is Moose crashing into the guardrail. Santana hits a kick and spends time celebrating with his people. Fandango saves Moose from a dive, which allows Moose to pick up Santana and bomb him on the apron. Mike Santana escapes another one in the ring. He tries to do a cannonball now in the corner, which is caught, and now Moose can hit his powerbomb. The crowd chant F the system. Seems like this faction is actually working somewhat. Moose hits a Uranagi now. We're told that Moose is apparently now tied for the second most matches in Bound for Glory history. Does Moose get enough respect for what he's done in TNA over the years? I couldn't really tell. Do people love this guy or hate this guy? Mike Santana spits on Moose and he fires off on him. Moose misses his dive and Santana rolls him into a cutter for a 2. He moves on to take out the system with a dive off the top. There's a crazy few moves now. Santana has Cannonball caught on the outside. Moose tries to powerbomb him, but Santana just about turns it around with a Hurricanrana. He immediately flies off the apron with a moonsault. Santana gets him back in the ring and drops him on his face and hits a dropkick for another 2. Santana can't hit spin the block, but he can hit a Death Valley driver into the corner. He nails a top rope 450 as well for yet another 2. Moose really hasn't done a whole lot in this one. Fandango causes a distraction and we get a bit of a botch now, both men taking an ugly fall from the top. I think it was meant to be Moose hitting a sky high. This is quite a long match. Moose hits another powerbomb on the apron. He wants to take the cat out victory, but the ref only gets denied. Moose is in complete shock. Loving the rally towels in the crowd, by the way. Rally up. I might need to do a ring and a hawk for that guy, just for the fun of it. Fandango randomly tries to smack out Santana with a chain. He misses and he gets spin the block. Moose instantly spears Santana for a 2. Moose goes for another spear now, with Santana almost rolling him up. Then he does hit spin the block, and wow, that's the 3. I'm surprised Moose lost here. You don't see him lose too often. They must have big plans for Mike Santana. Another nice match with another nice change of styles to the previous matches. I can't believe how positive the Hawk is being. I think I need a brick to the head. The Knockouts title match is up next. It'll be Royd and Grace taking on Masha Slamovich. The story here is that Masha feels like Grace didn't do anything to lift her career up while she was the face of the company. I get ODB vibes from Masha. These two have had an excellent match in the past, so hopefully more of that today. Royden looks like she's been in that one scene from Final Destination where they get locked in a tanning bed. Honestly, I can't think of many worse ways to die. She really does carry herself like a star now. You can tell she spent a lot of money on her attire, her hair, and her needles. No, I'm kidding about the needles. People always think I hate this woman. I'm actually a huge fan. I'm just an equal opportunity gut puncher. Anyway, apparently Masha has never beaten her. Maybe this will be her night. Grace tries to put that in doubt with her first big move, a gut wrencher slam. Masha responds with a nice dive out of the ring. Grace shows some aggression on the ring apron with kicks to the legs and a bouncing, shaking, wobbling double stomp on the apron. Masha is pretty much dead after a rolling DVD. She does eventually make a recovery, but she seems to be massively feeling her leg. She manages to catch Grace in a guillotine, but the powerhouse powers her up and hits the Royd hammer. The match continues with Masha hitting a Frankenstein and a snowplow, which is her finisher, but it doesn't finish this matchup. Lots of nice movement and dodging in this one. Masha almost wins again off a springboard crossbody and yet again off a spinning heel kick. Ignore the old bald guy yawning in the front row, this isn't a boring match. He needs to be smacked in the gut. They do the tombstone piledriver reversal spot, but it doesn't end with a tombstone, it's a German instead, not seen that before. Grace looks to finish her with an air raid crash, but just another 2. As we come into the closing stages, Masha slips out of a muscle buster and knees Grace in the face. She picks her back up and hits a burning hammer. There's so many kicks in this match. Masha throws more and more kicks, but Grace eventually catches one and does a beautiful transition into a suplex. Grace goes straight into the needle driver, but to everybody's shock, it's just a 2. The stretch muffler doesn't work for her either, yet again as Masha makes the ropes. Now we head to the top rope again, where Slamovich hits a superplex straight into a pile driver, and shockingly, that's the 3. Masha wins the title? So does that mean Jordan Grace is off to the WWE soon? It does seem like TNA wouldn't take the belt off their second biggest star without a good cause. What do you guys think? Anyway, great match. World title match is up next. I don't think it's the main event, which is weird. Fortunately, I've managed to avoid the spoilers for the world title match. The special referee for this one is Frankie the Future Kazarian. He was the winner of Call Your Shot, which is basically like Money in the Bank and he can get a world title match whenever he wants it. It's Joe Hendry taking on Dolph Ziggler for the world title. Hendry has a nice Slim Shady tribute, I guess because we're in Detroit. Dolph seems to be quite enjoying his role as the top dog in the company. The ref seems to be the biggest heel in this match. Dolph has to try his best here to get the crowd to turn against him. Hendry picks Dolph up in a suplex position and teases throwing him out of the ring, but instead settles with a suplex in the middle of the ring. That seems pretty dumb logic to me. But you know, it's Joe Hendry, he can't really do anything wrong right now, can he? I don't know why, but during this match I had the random thought, but damn, Samoa Joe would be so sweet to have back in this company right now. He could have the run of the world title that he should have had in the first place. The sack of shit gets Joe Hendry a standing ovation, but Hendry is unable to return the favour because Dolph is a slippery bugger. Hendry does manage a powerbomb for 2 and a fall-away slam from the top. With both guys down, Kaz starts being a heel and messing around. Hendry tails him off, which costs him as he walks into a Faymaster. Hendry still kicks out of 1. Kaz and Dolph seem to have an alliance. After a cutter on the apron, this match takes an interesting turn. Kaz decides to trade in his Call Your Shot and ask for a new ref to come out. Then, freaking JBL storms out and clotheslines Kazarian to hell. But Bradshaw ain't done and he clotheslines everybody apart from Dolph. This gives Dolph time to recover and he hits the zigzag for a 2. He throws a tantrum as a new referee desperately explains that it wasn't good enough. Ziggler manages to slip out of the standing ovation and hits a super kick. The zigzag then ends the match. Despite the signs in the crowd saying they're going to riot if Hendry doesn't win, no riot happens, but the crowd do sound annoyed. Was this a mistake by TNA? Hendry could be more popular right now, but how long is he likely to stick with TNA? Maybe that was in their thoughts? Kaz still has his Call Your Shot from the looks of it too. Now highlights from the Hall of Fame. Eric Young inducted Bob Ryder and Tommy Dreamer inducted Rhino. All that is left is the main event, which will be a full metal mayhem match. The Hardy Boyz take on Austin and Bay. And the champions are Eddie Slapnut Edwards and beyond average Brian Myers. Who is ready for a crazy spot fest? The Hardys have decorated the ring, it looks pretty unique. Chris Bay gets a start with a flip dive to the system. The teams wear each other down for a bit in the crowd. Ace Austin dives out of the crowd to splash Myers for a table. Matt Hardy leg drops Slapnut Edwards for a table. Jeff Hardy continues dominating with Jeff hitting a twist of fate into Matt Hardy's neckbreaker. They're about to win, but Ace Austin pushes the ladder over. The Hardys do some cool stuff in this match. The whole thing does feel like a bit of a love letter to TLC matches from the past. The System eventually return and hit double side effects on the Hardys through tables. Chris Bay hits the Art of Finesse on the ladder, which gets the biggest crowd cheer so far. Eventually Chris Bay ends up hanging from the title belts and Myers spears him off the ladder, which is shades of TLC. The Hardys return and everybody starts hitting finishers. Jeff messes something up on a ladder on the outside and he falls on his ass. It doesn't matter though, and he climbs the ladder and hits a rough looking swanton bomb on Myers for a table.
Dude, I was just watching TNA Bound for Glory, man. And this dude, wait, Jeff's my friend. Man, when you coming back to North Carolina, Jeff?
Ace Austin can't win because Miss Piss tips the ladder over. Matt Hardy gives her a twist of fate. The Hardys double powerbomb Slapnuts off the ladder and through the tables, and the Hardy Boyz win the match to become 3-time TNA Tag Team Champions. A feel-good moment to end the show. Well, that again was a lot of fun. TNA Bound for Glory was a nice show. It felt like every match delivered with no real low points. It was well paced, it was a good mix of styles. They weren't jobbing to the WWE guys, and I still had a lot of fun watching this show. This might be the best pay-per-view TNA have done, even if no match was like a 5-star match. Every single match was 3 stars or above, so it's a very consistent pay-per-view. The Hawk recommends it, and if you don't agree with that, I'll give your lip a split.